After the smoke of World War II cleared, the world sighed in relief. But peace was only an illusion. From the ashes of one war, another battle began, not fought with bullets, but with fear, propaganda, and power. It was called the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union had fought side by side against Nazi Germany, but victory turned to suspicion. Two superpowers, one capitalist, one communist, began to see each other as threats to their very existence. The Americans believed in freedom and democracy. The Soviets believed in equality through control. Each saw the other as a danger to the future of humanity. Winston Churchill spoke of an iron curtain falling across Europe, a line dividing East and West. Behind it lay Soviet-controlled nations. Beyond it, the Western world under American influence. The world had split in two. Nowhere was this division clearer than in Germany. Berlin, once the proud capital, was carved into four zones: American, British, French, and Soviet. Tension rose until, in 1961, the Soviets built a wall, the Berlin Wall. Families were separated overnight. Tears and silence filled the streets. Concrete became a symbol of fear and of control. West Berlin shone with lights and music. East Berlin slept under shadows and watchtowers. Both sides built weapons powerful enough to destroy the planet. Bomb after bomb, missile after missile, an arms race born out of paranoia. Each country wanted to prove it was stronger, but every test only deepened the world's fear. Then came October 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the American coast. For 13 terrifying days, the world held its breath. One wrong move, and humanity could vanish. Finally, an agreement was reached. The missiles were removed. The world had stepped back from the edge of extinction. The Cold War wasn't cold everywhere. While the superpowers avoided direct battle, they fought through others, in what were called proxy wars. In Korea, brothers fought on opposite sides of ideology. In Vietnam, jungles burned as America tried to stop communism's spread. In Afghanistan, Soviet troops faced fierce resistance from local fighters armed by the West. Millions died, not for territory, but for ideas. The conflict reached beyond Earth. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite. The world looked up in awe and fear. The race for the stars had begun. The US responded with Apollo, and in 1969, humans walked on the moon. It was no longer just about science. It was a battle for prestige, for dominance, and for hope. Technology had become the new weapon. In the 1970s, leaders on both sides sought calm. This era of détente brought treaties to limit nuclear weapons. Presidents and premiers shook hands. For a moment, it seemed peace was possible. But it didn't last. When the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979, old fears returned. The arms race reignited. The Cold War's fire burned once again. By the 1980s, both superpowers were exhausted. Economic pressure, political unrest, and the cost of war weighed heavily. Then came Mikhail Gorbachev, a Soviet leader with new ideas, glasnost and perestroika, openness and reform. He sought to change the system from within. But change came faster than anyone expected. People across Eastern Europe demanded freedom. Protests filled the streets in Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, East Germany. In November 1989, the unthinkable happened. Crowds gathered at the Berlin Wall. Guards opened the gates. People climbed, danced, and broke the wall with their bare hands. Tears turned to laughter. The symbol of division had fallen. 2 years later, in 1991, the Soviet Union itself collapsed. The Cold War was over. The Cold War shaped our modern world, our politics, our science, our fears. It taught humanity the price of power and the value of peace. Today, the missiles are silent, but the lessons remain, because history whispers one warning. Those who build walls must someday learn to tear them down. The Cold War shaped our modern world, our politics, our science, our fears. It taught humanity the price of power and the value of peace. Today, the missiles are silent, but the lessons remain. Because history whispers one warning: those who build walls must someday learn to tear them down.